Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Welcome back to the world's greatest horror movie podcast, Chopping It Up. Thanks once again for joining us as we move through our summer spectacular. This week, we're pairing up a late-era Wes Craven classic, 1996's Scream. We're matching that up with a film that came out the following summer, 1997's I Know What You Did Last Summer, directed by Jim Gillespie. These films inspired the subgenre of horror that could be called meta in a sense, and it's largely self-referential. Scream led to a number of Scream-inspired ripoffs, which we will no doubt delve into as the show rolls on. In the meantime, and then there were three. Just me, your host, Jesse Goodman, and my intrepid co-hosts, Joel Reeves and Michael Sled. Tonight, we have no time for gimmicks or silliness this evening. We're going to get right into the meat of these two bad boys. So don your cream-colored V-neck sweaters, crack open an ice-cold Zima, and beware of scary masks and fishhooks. It's the 90s, and let's get to it. All right. First impressions and meat cleaver ratings. Obviously, we are on a scale of 1 to 5 meat cleavers here, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. We're going to go ahead and discuss briefly why we rated each film as we did. So without further ado, Sled, Joel, I assume we have all seen both of these films coming into this, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Repeat viewings here. Joel, why don't you lead off? I'll go second. Sled, you bring up the rear in case you have some contrarian takes in your back pocket. What do you got, Joel?
Okay. So I'll start with Scream. I think Scream is a well-made movie in the sense that it is executed well. That matters because I'm going to talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer, and not so much in just a sec. But, it's not my favorite Wes Craven work, but it was good at a lot of things, right? Like it threw out there a lot of the meta, like you said, discussion inside of the movie. That was, if not the first popular version of that. And they actually have several discussions in there. It became pretty tired after a while as like a thing. Jesse and I talked about this. I don't think it's really meant to be a genre. It just ended up kind of becoming a genre for whatever reason. But anyway, so I think Scream's actually pretty well done. And I watched it last night again. It still holds up pretty well. Even on watching it a few times during this viewing. So I give it a 4. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'll get into it when we talk through all the stats, but was rushed to market because Scream did really well. It shows it's not a very well done film. I think the acting's fine. Like they did a decent job with everything. I would just say there was a lot of little pieces that were wrong, that broke up, that we're going to discuss later. A little sloppy editing, things like that. I give it like a 2.5. It's not as heavy in the meta piece of anything. It really plays more like a traditional, like whodunit slasher type. So 2.5 for I Know What You Did Last Summer.
All right. I realized I hadn't seen either of these movies probably since I was like 19, like since we watched them either when they came out in the theaters or shortly thereafter. I was pleasantly surprised, maybe not surprised, but I was pleased that Scream held up. I know, Joel, you mentioned that too after you rewatched it. It's
Yeah.
I should have felt better about it. It's Wes Craven. He doesn't disappoint in general, and he's obviously who he is.
I
I
was
liked
worried
it.
though.
Yeah, I think there's the problem with both the films that I had, which is gonna, once I reveal my meat cleaver rating, is gonna take them down a notch or two, is because I don't think there's a heck of a lot of rewatchability for these. Like, there's the central conceit for Scream and the twist for I Know What You Did Last Summer. I guess the twist for both of them, when you think about it, it's like you get that, you only get one take for that. And then every time you rewatch it, knowing what you know, you're like, oh, we're already headed there. I mean, maybe there are some small, I don't want to call them Easter eggs, but little things you pick up on there. Like, oh, that's cool now that I watched it again, now that I know that. But for the most part, I don't want to go through the whole rigmarole again. Both of them felt much more like teen dramas, which obviously, Kevin Williamson is the writer for both films. And I don't want to give too much away. I know Joel's got his movie section, his stats section there, but he wrote Dawson's Creek, so he basically wrote these horror movies as the story like Dawson's Creek. These are teen dramas at the heart of it. And it's cool because all three of us, Sled, you're a little bit younger, obviously, but we all grew up in the 90s. So these were the films that came out. And, we're going to get into it in the general discussion, but I'll go ahead and say for Scream, I gave it a 3.0111 meat cleavers. Puts it just above average. I guess it's a low B or something like that. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I can't. That thing's almost. I mean, someone's going to fact check me. Joel will probably be like, well, it's only an hour and 39 minutes. No, dude, that thing is 2.5 hours long. It felt like 2.5 hours long. I'm not going to hear anything else. It's basically like watching Heat with like teenage fucking actors. I gave it a 1.2222227. 227. I cracked myself up. That's what I gave it. Sled, what do you got?
So I think I saw I Know What You Did Last Summer before I ever saw Scream. I don't think I saw Scream until later, much later. And I mostly saw I Know What You Did Last Summer because I really liked Jennifer Love Hewitt when I was around that age.
Understandable.
I mean,
and it came on HBO. It came on HBO.
There's two reasons why we love her.
Yes. This is back before on-demand HBO, to where it's like they had their movies that they got and they were going to show them to death. So I feel like it was on in the background a lot. So I saw it a ton of times, or at least passively observed it. Scream is a better movie. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious that it's a better movie than I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'd probably I guess I'll give it a 3 cleavers, and I'll give I Know What You Did Last Summer 2. I mean, neither of them have. All right, cool Easter eggs. I got it, but it's just I don't know. It loses its charm to me pretty quickly. So neither of them are great.
We're gonna move on to Joel's movies, guys. Everything's fine here. There's nothing to see on this recording. It's not like I'm running the show right into the fucking ground. Okay. All right. Joel's movie stats. Joel's movie stats. Joel is going to provide any background information on the movies in terms of cast and crew, gross and domestic money internationally, years filmed, shooting locations, all that good stuff. Normally I would do my own Rick Rude impersonation, but this is the point in the show where I hand it over to the new improved resident Rick Rude impersonator, CIU's own intrepid field reporter, Michael Sled. Sled, the floor is yours, sir.
Now, what I'd like to have right now is for all you out-of-shape mouth breathers to take a little break from staring at Jennifer Love Hewitt's sweat hogs while Joel gives you a real show.
All right, hold on. Let me get this shit together here.
Leave it in.
All right, well, you just get to your damn stats. We'll do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Okay, so I am going to start with Scream. These are big ensemble casts. There's just a ton of stuff. So for Scream, came out in 1996, as Jesse mentioned a little earlier. It was an hour and 51 minutes long. I don't think it feels that long.
2 hours and 51
honestly.
minutes.
I mean,
long.
Scream's long. Scream's long, but I don't know what you did last summer feels interminable, but whatever. It had a $15 million budget. It made $173 million. So that's 11.5 return, right? Like it's a monster, which is why they've made so many of these. In fact, the franchise has made nearly $1 billion. Right, so it's at $911 million for all of these Scream films together. It's pretty well thought of on IMDb. So by regular viewers, it's a 7.4. It's pretty good. Metascore is a little low. It's a 66, which means it probably had some really good reviews and some really shitty reviews. Right, like a lot of times when you see a movie that's way off with the IMDb score and the Metascore, it's because like a few reviews, like people just didn't like what was being done. So that gives you kind of a really high level of the numbers. The director of this is obviously Wes Craven. I think I don't need to go too deep into his catalog, but obviously the big dog there is Nightmare on Elm Street. But you've also got The Hills Have Eyes, Hills Have Eyes too, a whole bunch of Nightmare on Elm Streets. Shocker. Let's see, People Under the Stairs, one of my favorites. You got Freddy vs. Jason. You've got the remakes of I think he was like consulted on the remakes for The Hills Have Eyes. Oh, and also he has The Last House on the Left. So then moving to the writer. So Kevin Williamson is an interesting guy. So he wrote Scream 1 and 2. But he also wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer and Cursed, which is like a werewolf movie, which is, it's okay. And then it stars one of the characters from Dawson Creek, I believe. It's Pacey, I think was the character's name. And I forget the actor's name, but he's in Cursed. Like Jesse said, he wrote all of Dawson's Creek. He also wrote a show called The Following with Kevin Bacon. That show's okay. So Dawson's Creek, they actually reference it in I Know What You Did Last Summer. The beach is called like Dawson Beach or something like that. Right?
Yeah,
like it's so there's lots of little things like that.
It's funny though. The reason why that's mentioned is actually because Kevin. I wasn't going to say it until later, but Kevin Williamson wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer before he wrote Scream. I
didn't know he wrote it before.
So when everyone sort of says this is a ripoff or one of those ones that follows, it's actually the inverse. So he wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer first. He shopped it around. No one picked it up. So he eventually ended up writing Scream, which got picked up, which then allowed him, because Scream obviously was such a big hit, it allowed him to make I Know What You Did Last Summer and kicked off Dawson's Creek. So actually the most likely explanation is not that it was an Easter egg after, but that it was sort of a workshopped idea of the name of something, and then he sort of fine-tuned
Dawson something.
Right, Dawson's way. Okay, yeah, because that's what he liked. Anyways.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. And I will say that, like, from my research, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the rewrites and edits and things like that to that script were rushed, right? Like, I think you said it in your intro. Scream was big hit, and so they wanted to strike while the iron was hot. and it came out like a year later. So, anyways, I think you can feel it in that movie. But so then the next person's cinematographer, it's Mark Irwin. He's really like the rock star out of this group. I mean, he has had a hell of a career. Starting with way back with movies like Scanners. Let's see, there's a whole bunch of good ones. Dead Zone. He goes in and works on The Fly, The Blob, Fright Night 2. I think he might have done Fright Night 1. I can't remember. But yeah, so he does that. And then he does like a hard left for some reason and goes into comedy cinematography. So he starts doing things like Dumb and Dumber. He does Vampire in Brooklyn, Kingpin. That's all right around the time of Scream, right? So I do wonder how many of the comedy beats you catch in Scream are from that kind of bit. And Wes Craven's always been known for cracking some jokes too. So I'm sure between the two of them, they were really interested in that. And then he also worked on There's Something About Mary. So a lot of big names there. Then you go into, let's see, her name is Maria Maddalena. She's Italian, I believe. And
with a name like that, she's got no choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it Mary Ann?
Maybe I wrote it down wrong. But she was credited as a producer on Dracula 2000, which is terrible, People Under the Stairs, Scream 1 and 2, a bunch of the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, the remake of The Last House of the Left, the remake of both The Hills Have Eyes. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, Red Eye, that is like on a plane, but executive producer on Vampire in Brooklyn. So she's been all over the place too. And then apologies here. Oh, wait. And then also the Weinstein brothers were involved in this movie, as they were in most every movie in the 90s. So apologies with this. There is a huge cast. It's going to take a few minutes. But I will start right away with Drew Barrymore, who I think one of the neat things about Scream is you got a big name killed right in the beginning. I was just watching Mission Impossible with my kids, and it's the same year, and they kill Emilio Estevez in about the same time period. It was like 20 minutes into the movie. So maybe there's something in the water.
And it was a big twist, because on the theatrical release, the movie posters, she's right front and center and starring. Yeah,
she gets top billing on even on IMDb.
Yeah,
right. So I mean, it was definitely like a like everybody was jarred by the when you hadn't seen it, you didn't realize that she was going to be not the final girl. Then you get Neve Campbell. Now,
you know what's crazy? I just looked at something. Drew Barrymore is younger than Neve Campbell.
That's nuts. Right? I did not know that.
2 years, yeah. Neve Campbell. I was just looking at stuff, and Neve Campbell was born in 73. Drew Barrymore was born in 75.
Wow.
I would not have guessed that.
I guess Drew Barrymore's just been famous for so long that it makes me...
Well, yeah, she was. What was it, Irreconcilable Differences, when she was like 5, or whatever?
Yeah, Firestarter. She was a lead in Firestarter.
I guess she would have been
by 6.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah. It's crazy. Or maybe 7, but... all right, so Neve Campbell. Obviously, you've got the Scream franchise, but you've also got Wild Things. That was kind of a big deal. And you've got previous episode, The Craft. But what's really interesting is the two leads in this pairing that we put together here, Neve Campbell and Jennifer Love Hewitt, both come from Party of Five. Like that was, which I find, and honestly, you can feel it all through these two movies, right? Then you got Skeet Ulrich, also from The Craft. In fact, I think these movies like butt right up against each other. So he's most well known for The Craft and Scream, obviously Scream being the bigger deal for his career. Then you got Rose McGowan. She was, she's really well known for a few things, but she was in obviously this, but also she was in Biodome, which I had totally forgotten, and Encino Man. Then she's also in Phantoms, if you've ever seen that movie with Ben Affleck, I believe, and Jawbreaker. So that was kind of when she was like the hot ticket at the time. David Arquette, so was Scream franchise, Eight-Legged Freaks, Never Been Kissed. He met and started dating and then eventually married Courtney Cox, all starting from their like dating on the set. And I think that's when he kind of became a big deal because she was already a pretty big deal. So you got Courtney Cox, obviously. Sorry, go ahead.
Sled future WCW World Heavyweight Champion David Arquette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. Then you got Courtney Cox, obviously. She's famous for Friends and Scream. I'm not going to go through her whole filmography. Then Matthew Lillard. So he's also, again, famous for this, but two that I think are kind of interesting, or three. He is coming back for the newest Scream movie, supposedly, which is interesting because he appears to die in Scream 1, right? So I'm curious how they're going to explain that. Then
it was all a dream.
It was all a dream. And then he was in the most recent Five Nights at Freddy's movie, also Scooby-Doo, and all of those movies, which also connects with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who plays Daphne in those. He plays Shaggy. What's that?
Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think.
Gellar? Okay.
No, I'm serious. I think it actually is.
I've never heard that, but
it's Gellar. But so, and then Hackers, which famously I think was the first big movie for what's her name? Gosh, I'm blanking. Give me just a second. It's Angelina Jolie. There you go. That was her first big movie. So then, only a few more, I promise. You got Roger Jackson. He's the voice of Ghostface. So that's just, he's really only famous for Scream.
No, I thought they actually had a voice modulator, so it was just a totally different actor.
I think they do, but it's still a different person. Like, he's a voice actor. Like, he does like all sorts of animated stuff. He does a lot of video games, all sorts of things. Right. And then Jamie Kennedy, right? Which, I can't believe we had to live with Jamie Kennedy for 7 years before he made Malibu's Most Wanted. But the same year as this, he made, he was in Romeo and Juliet. So he's
what about
known for a few
remember
things.
the Jamie Kennedy
experience?
The experiment or project or whatever it was called?
What
was that?
Experiment?
What was that? Basically like Jackass before
that
Jackass?
It was a prank show.
Well, there were a lot of them. Ashton Kutcher, with Punk'd later on. I guess that was the big one. But
I think it was that. It was basically
the same thing. We had a bunch of the 90s were. Let me just say, the 90s were
big into surprising.
They were awful. The 90s were just awful. The music was awful. The whole thing was awful. That's right.
All right. So a bunch of quick little. The only other major role was Henry Winkler, which supposedly he's uncredited, but supposedly they asked him to go uncredited because they didn't want to overshadow like a younger cast with him. That's what the interviews I've heard said. But I find that kind of odd because some of that older cast or younger cast is actually pretty well known. Like Courtney Cox, she was already well known.
I mean, Williamson, the writer pulled, he pulled a lot of these were young hip actors who were the it thing at the time. These were not unknowns.
Yeah, when you get to I Know What You Did Last Summer, there's one or two of them that are pretty unknown. But I don't think any of these folks were unknown at the time. I mean, like, at least from looking through the resume, I'm like, they had at least one or two things under their belts. So then just a couple quick cameos. Wes Craven appears as, a Freddy the janitor in a Freddy Krueger sweater.
That's right.
Right. So,
yeah, Winkler says something to him. Right, he like opens the doorway.
He's like, well, I have it here. It's like nothing, Fred. Yeah. Like he says something to himself. Like Henry Winkler says something to himself. The Fonz.
Right.
And then Fred's like, and he's like, nothing, Fred. He goes back to.
There's a couple things like that where it's. I mean, it's so meta and so self-referential. There's one where, I guess, in the opening of Scream. Is it the opening Scream? Yeah, where Barrymore's walking through, talking to the stranger on the phone at the time. And what's your favorite horror movie? Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street, she says. She's like, what about not the sequels? And she's like, no, all the sequels sucked. It's because it's like Craven did the original one.
Well, and my favorite actually is Rose McGowan is talking about like, oh, what are you going to watch? Like one of those Wes Carpenter movies.
Oh yeah,
which is Wes Craven and John Carpenter, right? Like, and she mixes them together. But so you've got two more little cameos that, well, one's a cameo. It's Linda Blair, right? She's a reporter.
Is she? I didn't even...
so she shows up. For those that don't know, Linda Blair was the woman who played the Reagan in The Exorcist. So, but yeah, she's in there for just a minute or.
Is she the one who's like? Is she the one who's like? Oh, the people want to know. It's my right, and she asked a really shitty question.
That's exactly who it is.
Oh, that was her.
That is Linda Blair. And then Lev Schreiber, or Schreiber, I think is how you say his name. He appears only on the television as Cotton Weary, being led out like in handcuffs.
Okay.
But he comes back later because he is like Nev Campbell's character accuses everybody of murdering everybody.
I still think Cotton's guilty. I think that's going to come out at some point.
It's coming out. I don't care. Well, they're going to make 150 of these movies because they keep making more money. So if he's not guilty now, in one of the rewrites, he will be.
How many have they made?
All right.
7. Wow.
Yeah, this is. Yes, this is the 7th.
No, 7 is
out and
next year, huh?
So the least profitable of all of them was Scream 4. That was when everybody was like, all right, you've done enough, right? And then they took like 10 years. Like there's a significant gap. And then like a whole new set of characters come in and they bring back some of the other characters for the new Screams that are what we're seeing now. But they had to wait a little while because there was like Scream fatigue. All right, so I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm just going to go through this really quickly. Let's see. Let me bring it up. So Jim Gillespie, is that how you say it? Let's see.
Yes.
Yeah, Gillespie is the director. I gotta tell you, his resume was not super impressive. I mean, better than mine, but I'm just some schlub sitting on a podcast. But this is probably his biggest movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer. He did do a movie in 2005, which I've seen, which is called Venom. It's not particularly good, but he did it. So yeah, that's your director.
Well, let me just say on Gillespie.
Yeah, please chime in.
He's a piece of shit. It's just
Oh,
like the
jeez.
guy's just like doesn't like horror movies, so he's directing a horror movie, and you could tell that he doesn't like it because he doesn't give you the gore that you want. And obviously the really masturbatory fucking self like the first opening sequence, the shot from over the water and on the cliff, and it probably blew half the budget with the helicopter shot. You know, the opening scene, the tracking scene, that whole deal. It's like, this is not, you have the wrong movie, Jim. This is not high art, my friend. This is not what we're doing. It's from the writer of Dawson's Creek. Yes.
Can I jump into that really quick? So this is what drove. I'm sorry. What?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is what drove me nuts about the movie. Is exactly that. You're right. It did drive the budget up a lot because it is that opening scene is the only scene that is filmed in a different location. It is not filmed in North Carolina, which is where the movie's supposed to be set. It's supposed to be set in a town called Southport, North Carolina.
That's right. Fictional.
Which does exist.
Oh, it is a real town.
That one is a real town. Now, here's what's interesting.
Did they film it on? Oh no, I'm thinking of Delaware. No, maybe it is. It's Wilmington, North Carolina. Did they film in Wilmington? Was it Dino De Laurentiis? Yeah. No, it wasn't.
The car crash scene was also
no. It wasn't. But Jesse, you're gonna love this. You know where it is? Where? It is the same place that the fictional town of New Essex is. Right? Like, so on Cape Fear.
Oh, shit.
Like, there is a Cape Fear right there next to Wilmington, North Carolina.
That's funny.
And that's where it's based. Okay. Right? Like, so I was like, wait a second, that can't be right.
The car crash scene was also filmed in California.
It was, you're right. And here's how you know that. Because you remember they're like gonna throw him off like a big cliff, right?
Looks like Route 1, right? Like right on the coast, right?
It is. It is. I don't know that it's 1, but it is coastal highway. It could have been 101, right? And then whatever. It's coastal highway, right? And so the altitude. I looked this up because I'm a neurotic son of a bitch. In Southport, North Carolina, the altitude is 22 feet above sea level. Right? There's no fucking cliffs there. Right? You could roll down there and be like, "Oh, I'm fine. Someone get me a ladder." Right? Like it's ridiculous, right?
I went into that too. It drove me crazy watching because I didn't remember this, which I don't know how I didn't remember it watching it back in the day, but I know what you did last summer. It's the North Carolina town, and it's a fishing village, you know, a fishing town, and there's a fisherman.
For some reason, I thought it was set in like fucking Maine.
Right. Well,
it looks like
it does look like Maine, and I was thinking that too. But then I saw they weren't even fishermen; they were crabbers. Everyone brought in crabs. Now, Sled, you're not familiar with it. Joel, you are, because we're in the area. Joel's in fucking the blue crab nexus of the universe in Baltimore and Maryland. Yeah. But these are blue crabs, and I'm watching them dump them, and I'm looking at you can tell by
they're blue crabs.
The blue
tinge, they're not the right crab.
The blue tinge tips of the claws, and I'm like, wait, how did they get? I was like, so was this filmed in Maryland? Like, what the fuck? These are Maryland blue crabs. And then so I start going down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, oh, North Carolina has blue crabs as well. But I'm like, I grew up eating Maryland blue crabs, and I've had crabs in North Carolina in the Outer Banks, and they suck. They're cooked differently, and they can't be the same thing. So I'm like, so I'm looking at it is technically the same species, but I guess there's this on the subspecies level. This is where Sled might have there's differences to them. So, you know, Joel, when you crack open a good meaty Maryland blue crab, you've got the mustard right on the inside, which is that yellowish,
yellow guts.
It's essentially the guts. It's what is it? Hepatopancreas. That's the yellowish sweet liquid considered a delicacy. The North Carolina crabs don't have that, so that adds a sweetness and a texture that you don't get with the Outer Bay, with the North Carolina blue crabs. And also they're prepared differently. We steam ours, we Old Bay them up, you pour beer in the steamer and all that stuff. They don't prepare them that way down there. So anyways, that's where I went. I spent 20 minutes on my phone pausing the movie.
So I got another one for you, Jesse, that almost drove me crazy. If you look at everything everyone is wearing, okay, they are all dressed to Slet's point like it's Maine. It is July 4th weekend.
Yeah. Ryan Philippe has a fucking cream-colored sweater on that you.
Everyone has a fucking sweater and jeans on.
She's wearing overalls and long sleeves. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
You would die. I looked it up. The average temperature is 90 degrees there.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, anyways, it about made me have a stroke watching it. It's just such a.
I do like that intro scene, though. I like that.
Honestly,
I forgot that. I didn't remember Typo Negative playing over it with the.
Oh my God,
that Summer Breeze song.
I wrote that down.
Sled, I'm listening to. We're just going to go right off the rails. I was listening to all these other podcasts, reviewing the movie before I rewatched it, and then they were all bashing the new metal or whatever you wanted to call it, the Typo Negative stuff. And then and so I'm like, I was ready to just.
Dude, that song fucking rocks.
Oh, it's Sled. So I was ready to write down.
I was ready
to write down my notes. The song sucks. It typifies there. And then I'm watching. I'm like, it's kind of fucking bangs. I think I like this song.
I used to have that. I had that album in high school.
It doesn't even sound like
#1
Summer Breeze until like he actually says Summer Breeze, and then you're like, oh, that's what this fucking is.
Yeah, it's a cover. But.
Yeah. All right. Let me hop back to the stats. So you've got as I said earlier, Kevin Williamson. I won't go back through everything, but he wrote the screenplay of this. But it's actually based on a book by a lady of the name of Lois Duncan. And she hated this movie. And the reason she hated it is her 16-year-old daughter was murdered in a car. So the fact that her kind of whodunit, whatever, I don't know what the book could have been like if it wasn't that. I don't know how you make this out of something else, but she really didn't like that it was turned into a slasher type thing. But it's so strange. Anyway, so then you get to what's the name? Dennis Corson, who really is the cinematographer and really hasn't done a ton outside of this that's really interesting. He did a number of Into the Badlands episodes, a bunch of British television, like The Lock, a couple episodes of Doctor Who, and that's really about it. The Bastard Executioner, which I've heard is actually supposed to be pretty good. And then I'd say producers of note. So you've got William, let's see, what's the last name? Beasley. So he was a producer on a movie that I really enjoy, just Falling Down. Do you remember that? With
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, that's right. And then he was also apparently another Michael Douglas. I totally forgot. I think it is Basic Instinct. Isn't that Michael Douglas? I can't remember. But here's where it really gets interesting with him is he was also an assistant director on a whole bunch of stuff. So he was an first assistant director on Lost Boys, Poltergeist 2, which Poltergeist 2 is pretty good, honestly.
It's scarier.
Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth.
But
I love it a lot.
The bad guy in the second one is just so creepy that
it's the really scarier one. I'll give you that. Johnny Dangerously, which I love that fucking movie. Old time Michael Keaton when he used to do comedies. He was the first assistant director for 2010, the sequel to 2001, and Staying Alive. So yeah, some interesting stuff there. Then you got the actual cast. Okay, so the cast is not quite as loaded as Scream. There's some interesting people here. So you got Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like I said, she was in Party of Five. That's probably where she became the famous before this movie. But she was also in a show. I think this must have been a Nickelodeon show called Kid Incorporated or Kids Incorporated.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I never watched that or anything. And I think her first movie might have been Sister Act 2. She was in that, and that's 1993. And then 1995 is when Party of Five started. And then just all hell breaks loose. Her career goes crazy after I Know What You Did Last Summer. Because then a few years later, you get Can't Hardly Wait.
Can't Hardly Wait actually came out the same year.
I think it's the year after, at least according to IMDb.
Wikipedia says 90.
You're right.
It says 98, but
it's 98, but I Know What You Did Last Summer
98.
came out in 97.
Did it?
And then you got,
I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. You're right.
Yeah, they stack these movies really close together. It's crazy.
Yeah, writers were really working overtime.
Yeah. So, and then let's see. I'll just move to Ryan Phillippe. So Ryan Phillippe, he did a couple of movies, Bang Bang Bang, that were kind of big. So you had I Know What You Did Last Summer, then 54, Studio 54. I think that's Michael Myers and him are probably the two big leads. And then Cruel Intentions was 1999. Then kind of go
Sarah Michelle Gellar, right?
Yeah, it is, right? Like, so they're
like
kind of,
it's really screwed up, but
it's very weird. Yeah,
it's very sad.
Yeah, it is. But it's not terrible. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar, of course, of Buffy fame. I'm not going to go into all of her stuff because everybody knows her. Then you got Freddie Prinze Jr. So up until this point, he was pretty unknown. This was probably, he had other stuff, but it was all fairly small. But as soon as he did this movie, he kind of took off. So the next year he had I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And then She's All That is 1999. And so he's cooking along pretty good. And then he does Wing Commander. And that movie was dog shit. And that kind of derailed him for a long time. And then he came back and all of a sudden had a revival a few years later as Fred in Scooby-Doo. So you've got Bridget Wilson Sampras. So she was in, she was Sonya Blade, Jesse, if you remember this, from Mortal Kombat. She was the teacher in Billy Madison.
I do remember.
She was also in Last Action Hero. And then you got Johnny Galecki, who was, you'll know him as, well, I'll start with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. But really, he was David from Roseanne. Yep. That's where I really knew him from.
He was such a fucking loser.
and then he makes it in The Big Bang Theory, which all of these shows are in syndication. So he's getting a check from everywhere all the time. And then let's see, Anne Heche. So Anne Heche is probably known for, what's that, 7 Days and 7 Nights with Harrison Ford, and then Donnie Brasco, and that terrible movie that I always seem to watch, Volcano. And then last, then I will shut up, is Muse Watson. So he is the fisherman.
Ben Willis.
What's that?
Ben Willis.
Yes. And so he's in a bunch of Prison Break episodes, if you remember that TV show. And then a ton of NCIS, so he's doing well off of that. But he was also like a theater actor. And then a couple other movies here and there. Like, if you ever seen the last Exorcism, the sequel to that, Last Exorcism Part 2, he's in that. And that is it.
Wow.
Very long cast list. Sorry about
fucking A game. Oh, Sled, you have add-ons for that, or for any of the cast or crew you wanted to pick nits?
Oh, I don't think so.
All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go right to general discussion then.
I was gonna mention that Ryan Phillippe's background says he earned a black belt in Taekwondo when he was a youth.
No, same fucking black belt that Steven Seagal has. No way. You kidding me?
I don't know. Did you see him on the bag
I did see him on the bag.
Summer?
He couldn't punch his way out of a wet paper bag with scissors in both hands. So,
Did you remember that he was in that movie with Benicio del Toro, The Way of the Gun?
I was going to mention that. Yeah, that's right. The only thing I remember about that movie is the awesome first line that gets them jumped.
Where he's like, "Why don't you tell that bitch to fuck start her face?"
Something like that. Yeah, tell her shut.
Tell
her shut before I fuck start her face.
Shut the fuck up before I fuck start her face.
Yeah,
right?
terrible movie though, I think. But
but that one scene is amazing.
Right. All right, let's roll right into the general discussion, which is where we discuss how these films fit in with the culture at the time and when they were released, major themes, what they mean to contemporary culture now. That is to say, have they grown into cult classics? Are they forgotten? Did they start breaking any new ground for genres or subgenres? So I think, I'll just throw it out there. I don't know how many themes we're going to go through. I don't particularly think these movies have a lot going on a much deeper level. I thought there was the feint at feminism, which sort of defined the 90s in a way, which is to say that the writer for both movies and the directors for both movies were like somewhat aware, that women shouldn't be barefoot and pregnant and in the kitchen, which is like a leap from the 70s and 80s for the most part. But the 90s was that sort of bridge to actual autonomy and agency for women. So, for example, you get this sort of nascent feminism where, in the opening scene, or one of the early opening scenes for I Know What You Did Last Summer, where Ryan Philippe and Jennifer Love Hewitt and what's his face, Skeet Ulrich are up in the balcony area watching Ryan Philippe's girlfriend win the Miss Croker award, beauty pageant or whatever, and he's like, or actually I think Freddie Prinze Jr. said like, oh, doesn't she have? I didn't realize she had such great breasts or something like that. And Jennifer Love Hewitt was just like, whoa, guys, like that's enough, And then there's also in Scream, where the idea that like once they are sort of sitting outside after the first person's killed and they're like, no way, the woman could have, there must be a guy, like why would you say it's a guy? Well, only a guy's strong enough to gut a woman like this. Like women aren't strong enough to do that. And like, Nev Campbell balks at that, but it's this really tepid.
They're clunky lines.
The writing is, which is why the guy wrote Dawson's Creek, because he's on a certain level, but it's just like, we're aware of this and we're going to give the audience a little bit of this, but like it's not real feminism, right? It's not real equality. I don't know. What'd you guys think?
Michael, you want to go first? I've been talking a lot, but
no, have at it. I don't know if I thought much about it at all.
One thing I would say with that.
What'd you say, Sled? What'd you say?
So I don't think I put a lot of thought.
It's so funny. We might as well just I poured over, the stuff that we do for our research. Man, aside from like that real like sophomore year in college, I'm just creating stuff out of thin air. There is not much going on beyond these conceits.
I think there's a little in Scream.
Okay.
I think there's pretty much nothing in
I Know What You Did.
I Know What You Did. Here's what I would say in Scream.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an attempt, I don't know how successful, but of like with the meta stuff of, let's see, what's her name? Sydney.
Right.
Trying to have Sydney be able to control her own narrative, right? Like, so like life imitating art thing where she is like, she has sex. She is, like, eventually, right? She is, pretty active in her own defense, right? Like she fights the guy, she runs from him, she eventually shoots him and kills him, right? Like, so she's not like a damsel, right? Like Jennifer Love Hewitt, like, I think I mean, not her specific, but her role as Julie, I think it's much more like, Julie's smart, clearly, but like, she also has sex, so she has like some agency, right? Like she's choosing to do that against the rules, right? But like she still has to wait for, I don't know, Freddie Prinze Jr. to come rescue her at the end, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think there's a lot going on there.
It's lukewarm.
Yeah.
I did notice the presence in terms of another theme, that the presence of media and its influence on public perception, right? So for Scream, we have Courtney Cox's character, who's this overbearing sort of, you remember A Current Affair with Maury Povich, right?
Yeah, it's very
sort of like the current affair reporter, like a ground reporter for the field reporter for A Current Affair. It's sort of the times.
TMZ or whatever.
Yeah, what is the first thing she says when she figures out that the wrong guy's in jail and the killer's really out there? She turns to her camera guy and she's like, "Oh my God, can you, like, do you know what this means?" And you think, that the audience is led to think she's going to have some sort of like moral come to Jesus moment. She's like, "This means like my book's going to sell," or whatever, she's trying to commodify her, her knowledge, intimate knowledge of the inner workings of this. So, that and how that plays into how the teenagers see things. Did you see on the news last night that so-and-so was killed? Yeah. And like that sort of rolls into, I guess, the actual themes of what both movies want us to talk about, which is urban mythology and oral tradition. It's sort of folklore. These are not folk horror by any stretch, but that plays around with those subtropes,
Yeah.
When they're sitting around on the beach, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they're talking about their futures, and then they have that little tale about the hook hand, right? The guy with the hook, which was a real urban legend. Like, I remember talking about that before, right? And reading it in the Scary Stories book that for some reason they handed kids, which were full of fucking nightmares. But like the hook, the couple's making out in the car, parked somewhere, in the woods or wherever, and they hear a scratching sound. They pull off just in time, and when they stop, a half hour later to get gas, there's a hook, on the door,
bloody hook stuck on the side of the door
handle, that kind of deal. So it plays around with that. Now, I do think there's a difference between Scream, which is why we all rated it higher than I Know What You Did Last Summer. With Scream, the idea, first, it was the first one to be put to celluloid, to be up there on film, to actually reference other horror movies in that universe, right? They're talking about other stuff like it wasn't that wasn't done generally. It may have been the first ever, right? And it talks
certainly the first big one.
First big one, and it spoke explicitly about Jason Voorhees and Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street, and by name,
and the rules, right?
of those, which we can get into some more in a bit. But I Know What You Did Last Summer isn't on that level, right? It's not that self-aware. It doesn't put itself in the horror universe per se, but it references that urban legend, that mythology, that folklore.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But is that enough to carry? I mean, that's what Joel and I talked about, Sled, just, before we got started. I gotta say, if that's the thing, and this is a knock on both films, if that's the thing that you have, which is we started a subgenre of horror where things are self-aware and exist within the horror movie universe, we can is that enough to start a whole subgenre? Maybe that is only enough for a one-off. Like I only wanted Scream. That was the rest of or at least for a good stretch of the mid-90s. at that point was like, oh, now we're all going to reference other horror movies, and the characters in our movies are going to be really hip to the game of what to do and what not to do. And I don't think that's worth a shit. I mean, if so, where's the legacy outside
it's
of
like
Scream?
I don't know. It's just cheap. Like it's a cheap, like
Yeah, it's a cheap giggle,
like,
right?
You're just like putting in Easter eggs, but they don't actually mean anything. It's just all like.
You know what it reminds me of, Sled? Do you remember we did Prime Cuts on April Fool's Day? You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Which I really liked, actually, for what it was. And at some point, I said something about, the swerve at the end of that movie, which is that that it was all a setup, it was all a hoax, no one really got killed. The person planning this party wanted to trick everyone and scare them. Well, and I said, man, I think the twist at the end, it really fooled me, and it really bumped up my rating because of that. Like, I liked that. And you were like, something to the effect of like, yeah, it only fooled us because that's how they wrote it. Like, we as audience members didn't get fooled because we missed stuff. They didn't give it to us. And I feel like that's a little bit, that's how you wrote it. You're self-referential, but like that, just like looking at the camera and winking doesn't make it smart and doesn't make it worth my while.
Yeah.
The one movie that I've seen that was later than Scream, that was actually, I think, good at doing the using the tropes inside of the, like, in the meta piece, is Cabin in the Woods. Do you guys see that?
I haven't. I've heard good things about it though.
It's pretty good. We should do that at some point. But basically, it feeds heavily into the plot. Like all of the tropes that we're going to talk about are like, like, you can't do X,
you can't have
be
sex,
this,
you can't drink,
you can't be this type of person, right? Like, is the way they address it in Cabin in the Woods. And I think that's pretty, honestly, I think that is a bit of Scream's legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, I Know What You Did Last Summer's legacy, I would argue, is a movie like Urban Legend, which that is not a very good movie.
I mean, there's an argument to be made that we could have matched Scream with Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, I think that could have worked. It didn't occur to me at the time because these two make a lot of sense. Like, there's a lot of things between these movies.
Yeah.
Right, in terms of people that work together. And,
well, they also
the writer.
They also both tried to. It's a bit of a stretch, but redefine what the final girl trope was, which I think you were getting at earlier, Joel, right? Like,
I think you're right. I think I don't think they quite get there, right? But it's more like it, right?
Yeah,
like they're going in that direction,
right? I mean, you get Nev Campbell actively trying to solve the crime, right? But I think I had more nostalgia for these types of movies when I was thinking back, and it was just because we were around that age when they came out. So the style of dress and the music and all that stuff, like you would say, Joel, just bumps that part of your brain that you're like, oh, right, I remember that. Like, I'm going to watch it. But these were, a truth be told, for me, well, I don't want to say it for Scream, but I Know What You Did Last Summer was a slog for me. And even though I liked Scream upon rewatching it, these are not movies that I'm going to circle back to. And I didn't get into it. I don't think I saw any of the ensuing sequels in the Scream universe. Did you guys? Have you guys seen?
I've seen them all. Because I mean, just in case nobody knows, I'm a whore.
You
right?
are
like,
a completionist. Yeah, you're. Joel ain't turned nothing down but his collar.
Yeah, I have no taste. Right, like I will watch everything.
I don't think I watched any of the sequels. I wouldn't watch these again for any. It wasn't so much just a slog to get through them; it was a slog to like make myself even want to watch them.
Yeah,
like it was.
Yeah,
I just kept putting it off. It's like, I don't really.
I did that. I actually really was dreading for whatever. I don't know why.
Dude, we all have that. We all have that vibe. Do you know what's? This reminds me, and here's the thing about them. And I don't know if this was part of that reaction you guys had for you. But for me, I was like, because when I'm watching, these should not have been a slog, because these are both, as much as we want to harp on, these were the first movies to really reference and wink at you. And these are not inventive movies in the traditional sense.
I mean,
and these
real
are slashers.
sense.
These are both paint by number slashers where there's a mystery, a whodunit, which is also a paint by number sub part of being a slasher film. So like slasher films should be fun. And I don't think there was enough fun in here. I think these were painfully competent films, which is where, like, do you remember, Joel? I mean, I think we were fucking rooming together at that point. It's like when 8 Mile came out,
Oh,
right,
yeah.
with Eminem, and I kept thinking, oh, I think I really want to watch this, not because I thought it would be any good, but because I thought it would be awful, right? And I was like, I can't wait to watch this as one of those before white people hijacked irony, and it was like everything is, I love it because it's bad. I was the first one to do that. Okay. I was the first person ever in the world to be like, I like this movie because it sucks. But the thing about it was they were trying hard. They were earnest. They were candid, and they failed, which is what made it so.
That's why Ed Wood is great.
That's right.
Right.
So
Ed Wood is great because he really believed he was making great stuff. And they're terrible.
So this is the roundabout way of saying I watched 8 Mile and it's painfully competent. It is not good, not very good. It's not awful, right? It's filmed decent, and it was written decent and whatever, and it was acted decent. And then it's disappointing. And I think that's what these films are. They're just like, oh my God. And they took themselves a little bit too seriously. I mean, like, what are we doing?
I think there's a lot of that. I think there's especially with Scream. And I kind of like Scream. I think Scream takes itself very seriously. It's like,
I mean, I was just thinking Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's just a lot of like, maybe just not great, just not good acting. I don't know what it was. I mean, you kill Barrymore off in Scream, and she's the best actor on the set, right? By leaps. Am I wrong? I'm trying to think. There's a big cast. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm fine.
Courtney Cox isn't a bad actress. She's pretty good. But yeah, I would say Drew Barrymore is probably the best actress, right? She's been doing it for 30 years at that point.
Right. And so Skeet Ulrich is to steal a boxing aphorism, he's a left hook and a haircut, right? He's just got this beautiful coiffure, and that's it going on with him. Most of the, it's so funny that we talked about, or that I brought up the faint at feminism, because then you just look around what's compelling about the Jennifer Love Hewitt and Rose McGowan, and it's like they're all just racks. They're just like racks left and right.
I don't know what you mean, Jesse.
You don't get what I mean. Oh boy.
I didn't notice it in here.
It's just it's a shame that you can't even have fun with that, because it's not like slasher films are a stranger to having, gratuitous nudity and sexuality, but we get deprived of that on the pretext that we're going to self-referentially call these things out. But like, I think there's a way to do that and still have fun and still do them. I don't know. It's just a lot. It's like, I don't want to use the phrase like nothing burger, but it's like, God damn, that's it. That's what we got out of this. Half of it's a procedural, right? You're just like hunting down the killer, and we got fucking Dewey with his awful mustache and his whole bit, and the little, their quote unquote comedy subplot with him and Courtney Cox is just unbearable. I don't want to see that. Who wants to see them roll around in the woods? I don't even get to see her get naked. It's just awful.
Courtney Cox ever get naked in anything?
Yeah, that's good.
Not that I could think of.
No, that can't be possible, because that would have been a big thing.
That's probably the biggest disappointment to me, is how few of these stars from these movies ever did get naked. I always assumed
there's
Jennifer
none, I don't think.
Eventually, but I guess her career never tapered off that precipitously.
Hey, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, no, it was a slog. All right, let's move on then.
You got one last.
All right,
I got one last point on this.
All right.
Here, just to really drive home my disdain for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Probably like the most famous scene in that. If I say what's the most famous scene in I Know What You Did Last Summer. Do you know what it is? Like, or what people know?
What people know from? Let me guess.
I would argue it's the spinning around. What are you waiting for?
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Oh, that was like written by a kid.
That was written
Like
and directed by a child
scene at the contest
that won a contest.
Perfect.
I just want to point that out.
Perfect. There you go, Jim Gillespie.
Now, unless he's a savant.
I hope Jim Gillespie,
Right?
Jim Gillespie is listening because he didn't respect horror. He didn't want to direct a horror movie, and the
Did he
fucking
say that
kid,
in an
It was like,
interview
I'm
or
just going to
something?
let someone do a shot in my movie. Like, I'm sure Kubrick was all about that. Having children just shoot and direct like segments of his movies.
Kubrick.
I mean, I don't know. The movie just seems like like it's just a pure money grab. Like they just made it after Scream. Like, didn't change that much.
You're absolutely
casting
right.
philosophy going on with the people.
Yeah. It's sophomore.
exactly right.
It's sophomore. Mental masturbation stuff. It's just like, so whatever. All right, let's move on.
Oh, go ahead. Go.
No, I'm just gonna move right to. We'll go right to favorite kill, favorite scene.
Okay.
I
go for it.
I can start off for Scream. It's the opening sequence. It's like 10 or 12 minutes in the opening sequence, which for my money may be the most compelling scene in the movie. With Drew Barrymore.
As a short, that's a great short.
Yeah. And the kill itself. So aside from being the great scene, it's
Really
my favorite
good.
scene / favorite kill. This actually is dual service here because the kill is brutal. She's fighting for her life, and you would for a while, and as the top billing, you would think she was going to get away. Imagine seeing that the first time you see it. She gets stabbed, she gets beat, she gets she gets tackled, she gets roughed up, and then she it's slow. It takes its time. And then her parents are walking in around the front of the house, and she's coming around the side of the house, and she can't yell because her lungs have been punctured. She's bleeding out, and she's like, her throat was, and so then she's got the phone, and you can hear her parents on the phone while she's gurgling on her own blood. It is fucking brutal. Probably the best kill in the movie for me. And I Know What You Did Last Summer. I really think they ripped us off. That shithead director ripped us off of like some actual good gore. And I mean, I got to go with Galecki, with David from Roseanne. When it's actually kind of creative the way he gets. Yeah, he gets hooked. He gets hooked with that fish.
Super gross.
Under the chin, up through, just like a fish would be. You don't actually see anything, but you're able to hear through the soundboard and stuff. Sounds pretty good. And
it was pretty well done.
It's probably the best. Yeah, it's probably the best kill, or my favorite kill. What about you guys?
Michael, you want to go next?
I mean, same for Scream. My favorite scene for I Know What You Did Last Summer is just the intro with
I thought it was going to be the end credits. Okay.
Sled, you know what that reminds me of the opening now? It's like, it's funny that you say that's your favorite, because I think all three of us will now be like, oh, it feels like it could have been shot in like the November Rain video, or like Estranged, that era, Use Your Illusion 2 era, Axel. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Do a 10-minute helicopter shot, Axel. You're sitting on a cliff, Axel? All right, you're going to drink out of the bottle?
Okay. It's gorgeous, for one. It's a beautiful shot.
In Lost Boys, I feel like I remember a scene.
The opening scene goes across the water.
Yeah, it's the bridge.
Yeah, it's maybe not. It's
probably
not
the same
beat
part of the country, actually.
Yeah, it's not beat for beat. I think that's that type of opening.
But
that type
similar,
of shot
right?
is done. Is probably done a lot if you're out there.
And it's always compelling. That kind of, especially in California, right, where the coastline is so cool looking, and like there's those cliffs and.
All right, what do you got, Joel?
So I completely agree with Scream. Like that's a great scene. I love the kill. That's what I have as my written down. I really do like the kill for I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I also really like the chase sequence with Buffy or whatever, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I think that chase sequence, but there's no payoff. Like that's why it's not my favorite kill, right? Like the chase sequence is good, right? Like she's going up the thing and she's running through the store and her sister's got to let her in. And then her sister bites it. And right. Like, that's pretty good. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I'll go with, David from Roseanne too. But I want to like that other scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We're going to go on to best lines or quotes. So these are
I got one.
Memorable, creepiest, funniest, iconic. Anything you got, Joel? I guess since you got one, go ahead and lead off here.
I had nothing for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Although I will say everything Anne Heche did, or as being like the creepy redneck, was kind of working for me. Except for when she yelled, "Get out of my house," and she's outside. And I was like, what the fuck does that, like, someone didn't catch that? Right? Like, but the one that I really do like is from Billy in Scream, where he's like, "No, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative." Like he's yelling at her. Like, that's a good line, right? Yeah. Like, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's
I think, at least.
Sled, what do you got? Oh, you already did yours. Yeah, I know what you did last summer is it's tough. There's nothing that sticks. But Helen does say from the backseat of the police car when the police officer is like taking her away from the action and taking her off trying to figure the shit out. She says, "Listen, you little shit stick Mayberry ass reject, there's been a murder and you're going to fry in hell if you ignore it." I don't know if it's good because of the shit stack insult or so much because it's so overwrought. But I thought that was funny to me. God, I don't think I had a favorite one from Scream. I mean, these aren't really like quotable. That's what I mean when I say like painfully competent, like mediocre movies. Like they're not going to give you the outrageous shit that you can laugh at and quote, and they're not going to give you the deep or good or heavy quotes that you can really marvel at. It's like, I mean, we're coming off of Jaws and Piranha was rife with those awful, hilarious quotes, and Jaws was rife with those.
This is like one of the best movies ever made.
Right, one of the most quotable movies ever made. And it's like, we come to these, like, God damn, this is what I really mean by, like, so it's funny. We just went on at family friends of ours. We always go to this mountain in Virginia at the ski resort during the summer. We do it over the 4th of July. And one of the houses we got last summer, these like Airbnb we rented, it had, I don't remember what it was, but like we had forgotten our little anchors that you connect to your phone, the little speakers, right? So no one had anything they could play. We put the kids down to bed and we're like, oh, we're going to have some drinks and hang out. And there was no music to listen to. Well, this house only had all of the stereo system stuff from like the 90s. Like remember the one that's like, it's like the size of a dresser, Joel, right? They're all stacked on each other. There's a lot of shit going on. It has a 12 CD disc changer. And all of the CDs are from the 90s. So we ended up just listening to like 90s one-hit wonder type stuff, right?
That could work out.
Right. So it's funny. So this summer leading into it, I was like, I'm going to make a playlist on my Spotify. I'm going to bring my speaker and we're going to do nothing but like all of those one-off or two-hit 90s songs, right? And we're playing it there and we're having a good time. We're laughing about it. And then I'm like, and then I get back now and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to throw that in while I'm on the way to the gym or whatever. You can't listen to this shit. Everything is awful. It's like not even good, bad in the way, like 80s music or even like yacht rock or whatever you listen to, hair metal in the 80s. Like, I don't know. It was good. It was good in a different way. Anyways, this shit falls into that category where someone's like, oh, the 90s brought us Scream and this, and like the idea that you're aware, these characters that are aware that there are killers that existed in cinema prior to them. And it's like, nope, doesn't do it for me. Not enough for me.
There's one really good song in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
What is it?
But it's buried.
What is it?
It's Robert Johnson's "Where Did You Sleep Last Night?"
Oh, you're right, and I
caught that. I was like, "Oh shit!"
But that actually,
or Lead Belly.
Oh, it's Lead Belly. No, Sled's
Is
right.
it Lead
It's not
Belly?
Robert Johnson, right? It's Lead Belly.
Okay,
But that actually underscores exactly what I'm saying, because we all know Where Did You Sleep Last Night from what, Joel?
Nirvana.
From
right?
Nirvana.
Yeah, I know, the first time I heard it.
Right? And then I hate to say it, guys, no one's listening to Nirvana, right? No one. They're selling Nirvana T-shirts at Target, and
That was
fucking
Nirvana's.
20-year-olds.
That was Nirvana's best album.
Was that from the Muddy Banks of the Wichita? What was it?
No, that's from
Live
the
that was
Unplugged
that.
album.
Oh, okay,
Live
that's
and
Unplugged. You're right.
or whatever.
Right.
Which I got in 1996.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
Nirvana.
And it's like one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, but you can't listen. But y'all don't listen to that now, right?
I do. Bite your
You don't
goddamn
listen.
tongue.
You don't listen to Nirvana.
Yeah,
You weren't even there, man. No one will
Actually, you
get
know what?
that.
I thought of a scene that I liked was when David from fucking Roseanne, like he comes up and is just like straight up hitting on Jennifer Love Hewitt while her boyfriend is at the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's got a shooter with her.
And then
like
he gets,
has the nerve to get
That's
like
right.
upset when it's
Yeah.
like dude, you're fucking jerk off. What the fuck are you doing?
He was
and
such a
Freddie
jerk-off.
Prinze, the boyfriend, isn't even mean to him, really. He just comes in
Yeah.
like, so are we going to get out of here now? It's like you walk in on someone blatantly hitting on your girlfriend and they know that you're with them. And then that's the other thing
You're
about
at
the
the
feminism.
party.
That's the other thing about the feminism thing is like Ryan Philippe fucking straight up physically assaults Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt grabs her right around
Grabs
the
her
neck.
by the throat and is like, we're not going to say anything. And Freddie Prinze is like, I guess that's okay. Dude, that's an
He
assault.
didn't do a thing.
It doesn't do anything. These are terrible. They're just terrible movies. This is fucking ridiculous.
But
All
yeah,
right,
I had a thing for Jennifer Love Hewitt because I had she's from
Understandable.
Waco, and she's only a year older than me, and her birthday is in February 21st, so close to I had memorized all these things. I remember thinking, I was like, oh man, if I ever meet her, I remember being like a teenager thinking if I ever met her,
right?
got all
She's
these
just like in every
things in
girl that you
common.
meet.
Yeah.
but that's funny though. That's because that's one of the other things that is actually imitated in that, in all the, when they started really getting satirical with some of the movies that came out, it's like that's where a lot of the stuff came from, was like, she's going to put overalls on now and have frizzy hair and glasses, and now she's ugly.
Yeah.
Right? She's really let herself go, and it's like such a mockable thing now.
Well, she's all that, which has Freddie Prinze Jr. is the one that everyone references, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, she took her glasses off, right? Like now she's hot.
She let her hair down out of the ponytail. Now she's beautiful.
And
right.
that was Rachel Lee Cook.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking at a picture. I'm looking at a picture of her right now. The absurdity that this person was not
considered unattractive in any form.
Tell she was gorgeous, right? Like before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's move to trivia or tidbits. If there's anything we missed from the general discussion or from the cast and crew.
Well,
I blew my wad on the Dawson's Creek and the
I
order
reported
of
the altitude and temperature of the town where I Know What You Did Last Summer was. So I'm pretty much done there. I do have one thought.
What do you got?
But I can wait.
What do you got? No, go ahead.
So in Scream, the cops are useless, right?
Right.
But in I Know What You Did Last Summer, the cops are actually a danger to your safety. Like, not in that they'll shoot you, it's that they are so incompetent, they will trap you in a fucking alleyway in the back of their cruiser with a killer on the loose, right? Like, it was unfucking believable how bad they, like.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't like
do we
that
have?
movie.
It's like you stumbled upon a theme that could have been brought up in the we didn't bring up is law enforcement and its role.
How
in
terrible
films.
law enforcement is.
Well, I guess that's always something in slasher films, right? They always have to be bumbling around, otherwise.
Because if they weren't, the movie would end too early, right? Like,
right. Sled, you got anything for trivia and tidbits?
Oh, let me see. I mean, the one
I got something while you're looking.
We already covered the one thing about the kid winning the contest to do that one scene. No, go ahead.
I know Jennifer Love Hewitt actually was supposed to be considered for the other role for what's her face.
For Sarah Michelle Gellar's.
Yeah, but
Oh.
but and I think she actually got that role, but then she realized that she basically had her choice, and she was like, I want to do the lead role because she lives at the end, which seems like a super shallow thing to say, but that was what she did. And also, I think Drew Barrymore also in Scream could have had the lead role with as Nev Campbell's character. So it's funny how they both went different ways on that. I think Drew Barrymore didn't have the ego that Jennifer Love Hewitt did.
Well, I think Drew Barrymore's career was not going great at the time, right? When that kind of
it wasn't. It had kind of I want to say bottomed out, right? Like she was not doing great. She was very well known.
Did she have? I don't want to kick dirt.
Yeah,
on her
drug and
name.
alcohol
I was
problems.
going to
Yes.
say she did have drug and alcohol.
Big
problems
time.
for her.
I think she had gotten out of that by the time you hit the mid 90s, like to where it wasn't a big deal anymore. But I think because of it, she had to like work her way back into being an A-lister, right? Like, and so this started it. I think the one that really clinched it would have been Charlie's Angels.
Mm.
And then 50 First Dates and all those things.
Right.
This is what
Right.
he said, like 96. Yeah, I mean, she hadn't been in a lot. She was in what Wayne's World 2, Batman.
Yeah, and I don't think that was a big role.
She did that movie Poison Ivy. I used to like that movie.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I liked it. I liked it because she was in it, right? Well, yeah.
All right, let's move if we don't have anything there. This is our favorite. This will be a good one for these two movies since we are none of us are hot on these movies. The Franklin Award for the character we were actually rooting for to get murdered. In honor of Franklin from Texas.
So into this, but you guys go ahead.
I'll go first. I it's like I can't separate art from artist here, and I know Matthew Lillard was playing a character, but I wanted him to be murdered the whole time. I could not stand. He's doing it's so 90s, the dress and the baggy pants and his glasses on his head, like the whole bit, and the Walkman around his. I wanted him to die. He's sticking out his tongue all the time, and his eyebrows.
He hit him with the hammer, but he wasn't my top. But I get it.
Okay, who did you
have? So my number one for Scream was Jamie Kennedy, just on general principle. I mean, like I can't with that guy.
But did you like the Jamie Kennedy experiment?
No.
Did you like? Oh, you hate it all.
No, I find him grating.
Yeah.
Like when he started doing his Jerry Lewis impersonation, I was like, someone fucking kill him. Right? Let's just skip to Scream 2 so I can see him die. Right? Like
Right. Sled, what do you got?
I mean, none of the characters inspired me to. Ryan Phillippe's character is a fucking asshole. So,
but you're you're supposed to, right? You're supposed to.
I mean, I don't know. I neither of these movies. Part of the reason I never liked these movies that much was like I was never scared of like the bad guys. Like that's always a struggle for me when I watch movies like this with this kind of villain. I'm like, I watch it and I can't get into it because like I see stuff happen and I'm like, man, I'd fuck that guy up. Like that's what I.
well, you absolutely would for Scream
that's a real
because
point.
Between Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich as the dual killers, they're tripping and getting kicked in the nuts and getting bottles thrown at them. They're like real. They couldn't make the junior varsity football team. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like Matthew Lillard is at least, and by the way, there's 6 inches difference between the two of them.
I know. But I would say at least one check in the right column for I Know What You Did Last Summer is the imposing figure of this, this fisherman clad, guy with this.
That's a big dude.
A raincoat. Yeah, he's a big guy. It looks scary. It's dark out, and he's got this slicker on and this hook hanging down. That's at least something.
Yeah,
it is 100 degrees.
The aesthetic was good. I mean,
it is almost like they had the fisherman outfit and then backed into a movie. right? Like,
Yeah.
because
They figured
Well, I mean, I
that's
think
like,
they kind of did, right? I mean, they got the
Yeah.
hook thing, and they like,
yeah. It's when you title the name of a story and without having written the story yet, you're like,
Yeah.
I have the title, and now I'm just going to write what the
And it
title.
worked. He made a very successful movie. It's just not very good.
Do we have questions? Questions you have while watching the movies? It could be anything that went unaddressed or unresolved by the movies, or just silly offhand observations that we wondered about. I wondered about, I guess I wondered about when certain, it was not really a specific question, but more something that I thought about while I was watching both movies. Like, imagine what would the differences technology would make if they were around, right? That because they keep saying the cellular phone, and we're going to get on the World Wide Web and track this down and do this. And it's like, and they actually do mention that we're going to try to trace the phone call. Right. Which would clarify.
They can't do it.
But they can't do it, or they said that, or they may have even said that
it
cleared him. And I'm like, dude, what are we talking? This is like, these plots wouldn't even be able to work if you had technology. I thought that was interesting that they occur right on the cusp of, these early stages of the internet and cell phone usage becoming a semi-common thing,
Yeah, I think I read originally they were going to have her get in a Know What She Could Do Last Summer, an email telling her at the end that she still knows, rather than the way that they ended up doing it.
Yeah, but then she'd have to go back to college and go to the computer lab to check her email. It wouldn't.
Yeah, that boomer wasn't going to be sending her an email.
Right. That Ben Willis was not going to be doing that.
Ben Willis would have had to have his grandchildren help him write that.
He was probably in like AOL chat rooms.
Oh my god!
Hitting on kids.
Jesus Christ!
Old Dewey would clear that up. He would make sure that was taken care of. All right, so we have no questions. We don't give a shit enough to have any questions, I think.
There was one character that went by in a flash that I kind of want to know what happened to. But he's not named. He's the fisherman at the parade, right? He's the old man that Ryan Phillippe tackles and gives a heart attack. And I'm like, you just murdered that old man.
What happens to that guy? I know what happens to that.
Yeah,
I can answer your question.
Dead,
he has a hip replacement like in the next 2 weeks. And and he's infirm.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like an 85-year-old man. He just got jumped, like slammed on the ground by a 21-year-old.
By the way, here's my biggest. Now that we're into it, you want to talk about some fucking outlandish shit? Is the fact that without even looking up his stats, Ryan Phillippe is like 5'6", 150 pounds, right? Soaking wet with rocks in his pockets.
Something like that.
He's gonna play for the Cowboys. He's gonna go play football. Really? No, go to rehab.
Supposed to be. I was reading that the original character was supposed to be like a big, imposing guy.
Why didn't they just simply flip Freddie Prinze Jr. in him?
Then you could make him the star quarterback who's a dickhead, right? You could do that easily and aggressive.
Yeah,
Freddie Prinze Jr. is a big dude. I mean, like, he's not scary looking, but he's a big guy.
IMDb says the Ryan Phillippe's 5'8".
Oh my god, that means he is 5'6". Holy shit! All right, wow, he is little. He's a little guy. This
is a little guy. You put him in his pocket.
Put him in your pocket.
Take him home.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here. We hate
Freddie
these movies.
Prinze is
Don't
6'1", so I guess it would have been better.
I mean, yeah, he looks. I thought he was taller than that, but maybe it's just because he's standing next to a gnome. But
all right, don't watch either of these movies. Don't believe
at least if you've seen them once, don't watch them again. Right? Like, see them once,
erase them from your memory. And speaking of. Okay, thanks once again for joining us here on Chopping It Up. We hope you've enjoyed the summer thus far. And speaking of the oppressive heat and humidity, we will be pairing up a couple of summer scorchers for our next episode. Another Wes Craven classic, hopefully, well, it is a lot better. 1977's The Hills Have Eyes. And we're comparing that one with the 2006 remake by the same name and directed by Alexandra Aja. Nothing says summer like hill-dwelling mutated cannibals. So come check us out. And remember, if you have any questions or movie pairing suggestions, you can shoot us an email at choppingituphorrorpod@gmail.com. Again, that is choppingituphorrorpod@gmail.com. Or you can message us via Instagram at choppingituphorrorpod. And you can now also find us on Blue Sky at Chopping It Up. We are up on all major streaming services, including Spotify, Amazon, Apple, etc., etc. If you want to take a gander at our ugly mugs, you can also check us out on YouTube as well. All right, folks, we will see you next time on Chopping It Up.